Alfred Adler was also a member of Freud's inner circle of colleagues and friends until he broke off in his theory. Adler, being a psychoanalytic theorist, also focused on the unconscious, but he disagreed with Freud that the driving force of the unconscious was sexual wish fulfillment. Instead, he believed it was a drive for superiority and avoiding inferiority. By superiority, Adler meant that people have a need to feel that they are better than average at something. He proposed that if you are average or less in the skills associated with your profession, you will suffer from an inferiority complex. Much research has supported the main tenets of his theory, emphasizing how important it is to base occupational decisions on what you have a knack for, something you do better than average, rather than on what will produce the most income. A doctor who feels that he or she is average for doctors in town tends to be significantly less happy than a car mechanic who feels he or she is one of the best mechanics in town. Research supports this main tenet of Adler's theory that life happiness is not really based on what you do, but how well you do it. I myself am a huge fan of Adlerian psychology in general, but not so much his dream theory. Adler felt that the main function of dreams was to defend the dreamer's superiority. He analyzed dreams occasionally in his therapy practice, feeling that it was one tool through which he could get to know his clients, but he used dream analysis to a much lesser extent than Freud and Jung. Furthermore, he denounced the idea of searching for universal symbols in dreams. He strongly felt that therapists must focus on the dreamer's typical beliefs, behaviors, and attitudes, and largely unconscious feelings of superiority and/or inferiority. Thomas French and Erika Fromm were also prominent psychologists in their focus on the unconscious. However, they believe that the driving force of the unconscious is to strengthen the ego against anxiety. In their theory, every dream has a focal ego conflict involving a current personal or emotional life problem. They propose that dreams can be valuable in revealing these conflicts and cluing the therapist in on methods in which dreamers trying to resolve them. They called their main technique empathetic imagination, which entails the therapist suggesting interpretations and judging the dreamer's reactions to them. Perhaps the most unique of their proposals was how they defined successful dream interpretation. They felt that a therapist succeeds in accurately interpreting a dream when the client fully accepts the interpretation with enthusiasm. Can't you just hear Freud turning over in his grave? Thomas and Erika co-wrote and published this admittedly fuzzy imaged book titled Dream Interpretation, A New Approach. New copies are quite expensive, but the last time I looked, sellers on Amazon were offering some pretty reasonably priced used ones.